Before you buy anything on the PlayStation Store today, I need you to do something for me. Sign out of your account. You can see how much a game you've been wanting to buy costs by opening the PS Store, logging out, and then looking at it. Now you can log back in.
Is it not the same?
Yes, for a lot of people. And we're talking about millions of PlayStation users in 70 countries. And Sony hasn't said anything about it. What you're seeing isn't a mistake. It's not a sale. And it's not your eyes that are playing tricks on you. It's a planned, carefully thought out experiment that is slowly growing. Today, we're going to explain exactly what's going on, how deep it goes, and what it means for everyone who has ever bought something from the PlayStation Store. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, I promise you'll see your PlayStation library and your wallet in a whole new light. Let's go back to the beginning of this story, a Reddit post that looked like a normal complaint about a bug in the pricing system. Someone on the r/gaming news subreddit saw something odd. They were looking through the PlayStation Store when they saw that Assassin's Creed Unity was on sale for £3.74. A good deal, right? They went to buy it, but when they logged into their account to do so, the price had changed. All of a sudden, it cost £9.99, almost 3 times the original price. They thought it was a bug, they reloaded the page, they gave it another shot. It's still £9.99. But here's where it gets interesting. The Push Square team, which is one of the biggest PlayStation-focused sites, decided to try it out for themselves, and they agreed. Same actions. Logged out, lower price. When you log in, the price goes up. So maybe it's a bug that only happens in certain areas? PS Prices is a third-party website that has been keeping track of PlayStation Store prices in many countries since the early days of the PS4. These people eat, sleep, and breathe PS Store data, and they saw something in their tracking data that made them stop in their tracks. They saw strange price differences on about 50 games in about 30 regions back in November 2025. The same game, the same region, and the same date, but 2 different prices depending on who was looking. They first marked it as a possible data mistake, but the pattern stayed the same, and then it got bigger. The number had grown to more than 150 games in 68 regions by January 2026, and right now, we're hearing that more than 190 titles are affected in more than 70 countries around the world. And we're not just talking about old shovelware and cheap games from other companies. We're talking about Sony's best games. Ragnarok, the God of War Astrobot, Helldivers 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Gran Turismo 7, and Stellar Blade. These are the best games on the PlayStation, and they are all part of this test. Let's make sure we all know what's going on here. Sony has a name for this practice that they don't say out loud: A/B testing, which is also called elastic pricing or dynamic pricing. This is how it works. When you go to the PlayStation Store, Sony's system puts you in a group without you knowing it. Group A might see the normal price for a game, which is $39.99. Group B might get a discount, like $31.99. Neither group is aware of the other group. Both groups are unaware that they have been given a task. After that, Sony keeps an eye on things. Which group clicks buy more often? Which group makes more money? Then they use that information to improve the model and run the test again. Airlines, hotels, and online stores have been using this method for years. It happens on Amazon, it does it, airlines do it all the time. But this is the PlayStation. This is a console for games. And for many gamers, this feels like a betrayal. Let's go back to the Assassin's Creed Unity case for a moment. It's worth going over in detail because it shows how bold this experiment has become. £3.74 versus £9.99. That's a difference of £6.25, or about 167% that is applied without you knowing it, just because you're logged in or not. Think about what that means in real life. 2 friends are in the same room. You can find both of them on the PlayStation Store. One person is looking around as a guest, and the other is logged into their account. They're both looking at the same game at the same time, but they're being shown very different prices. Not because of a sale, not because one of them has PlayStation Plus, not because the area is different, but Sony's algorithm has decided that the logged in user who has a purchase history and a profile is more likely to pay more. The Assassin's Creed case is strange, but it's not even the most interesting one. You could say that it was just a difference between being logged in and being logged out in that case. What if both people are logged in, but see different prices on their accounts? When one Reddit user compared notes with his wife, he found out that was exactly what happened. He plays PlayStation a lot. Account is active, has made many purchases, and plays often. His wife hardly ever plays on her PlayStation. A casual player who buys a game every few months. Same game, same area, same day, same shop. He charged $44.99. She costs $39.99. $5 less, but only on the account with fewer purchases. $5 doesn't sound like a lot right now, but think about what this means for algorithms. It seems that Sony's system system looked at his profile, saw that he was a frequent and loyal buyer, and decided that he would probably buy anyway. At the same time, it looked at his wife's profile, saw that she didn't buy often, and offered her a sweetener to close the deal. In other words, the algorithm is giving people who don't play PlayStation a reward and charging people who do a lot of money. Take a moment to let that sink in. It's even scarier that most people can't see this at all. You would never know that you were paying more than someone else. There is no notification, no star, no disclosure. We only know about it because data trackers like PS Prices scrape the store all the time, looking for price differences between accounts, regions, and sessions. They found a pattern that Sony clearly hoped no one would see. How long has this been going on? Prices data shows that the experiment has been going on in some form since at least November 2025. For months, you could be quietly charging some users more than others without anyone knowing. We need to talk about something called price elasticity of demand to understand why Sony would do this and how it might work. How much does the price affect whether or not you buy something? Some products might sell twice as much if the price drops by 10%. People say that those products are very price sensitive. The buyer cares a lot about the price. A 10% price change doesn't make much of a difference for other things, like things you really care about, or things you've already promised to buy. You were going to buy it no matter what. For that specific buyer, these products are said to be price inelastic. If the community's theory is right, Sony is trying to figure out what group you belong to. For example, here it is. Think about how you would feel if you owned all 3 Nathan Drake Uncharted games. You have platinumed them, you stream about the PlayStation, your account history is like a love letter to Sony's own games. Uncharted 5 is out now. Do you need a deal to buy it? Not likely. No matter what, you're going to buy it. Sony's algorithm can see what you've bought in the past and make a pretty good guess about what you'll do next. So why give you a discount that you don't need? On the other hand, think about how long it's been since you bought a game. You've been leaning toward Xbox or PC. Sony's algorithm can see the space. It can see that you might stop being a customer, so it gives you a better deal, which is a small push back into the ecosystem. People in the community have started calling this the loyalty tax. The idea that you pay more the more you love PlayStation. On the other hand, I would call it the fence sitter discount. If you haven't bought anything in a while or are on the edge of the PlayStation ecosystem, the algorithm is more likely to show you a bigger discount. Not as a reward, but as a way to get people to do something. Some users in the community say they are getting discounts of 15 to 20% more than what active users see on the same game. That's not a small thing. If you haven't spent any money lately, you could save $10 to $14 on a $70 game. In other words, the system punishes loyalty and rewards not being involved. And if you think that sounds wrong, well, from a purely profit maximizing point of view, it really is brilliant. Cold, calculated, and maybe even predatory, but brilliant. So if you've been a loyal PlayStation fan for 20 years, you get higher prices? Good job, Sony. You might be surprised to hear this. Since 2021, Microsoft has been offering personalized prices on the Xbox Store. This story about PlayStation came out 4 years later, but you probably haven't seen a viral Reddit thread or a lot of people getting angry about it. Why? Xbox calls it something. They put a label on it. A little tag that says, "Just for you," will show up next to a discounted price in the Xbox Store that is unique to your account. It is framed as a prize, a coupon, a pat on the back for playing Xbox. The main question is whether the underlying mechanics are the same as what Sony is doing. What matters psychologically is that Xbox lets you know. The difference in price is clear, labeled, and framed in a good way. It seems like a present. The opposite is true for Sony. There is no tag. There is no badge that says "just for you." There is no openness. The price just changes, and unless you check prices on a lot of different accounts or use a service like PS Prices to keep track of them, you'll never know. And that's what the gaming community is really mad about, that they can't see it. Not the idea of dynamic pricing itself, but the dishonesty that comes with not saying anything. If Sony said, "Hey, we're giving you personalized deals based on how you shop," and that means that sometimes different people will pay different prices, would people be happy? No, but the anger would be much less. Instead, the message being sent, whether on purpose or not, is, "We're raising the price and we hope you don't notice." I know a lot of you are typing "this should be illegal" in the comments right now, and I understand why. But the legal situation is more complicated than it seems, so let's talk about it. Dynamic pricing is not against the law in the US and most of the EU. Businesses can usually charge different prices to different customers as long as those price differences aren't based on things like race, gender, religion, national origin, or disability. It seems likely that Sony is not using any of those factors to set its prices. It's based on how people buy things, which is legal in most places. So annoying? Yes. Is it morally wrong? Of course. Is it against the law in the US or EU? Not likely, at least on the surface. But there are places where it does get more complicated, and this is important. In Mexico, laws protect consumers by making sure that businesses honor the prices they advertise. If Sony shows a logged out user a price, and then that user logs in to find a higher price, there is a strong case that the lower price is a binding offer, and that the price increase is an illegal bait and switch. The Australian consumer law protects consumers in a similar way. It says that businesses can't lie or trick people in business deals. That could include showing one price and then charging a different one. There are also rules about price transparency in the UK's Consumer Rights Act and a number of EU consumer directives. These rules could apply depending on how regulators choose to interpret the practice. And here's the thing, Sony might have already thought about this. You might notice that the United States and Japan are not on the list of places where this experiment is going on. Two of the world's most litigious markets for consumers. That's probably not a coincidence. Let's take a step back and think about what this means for the future of how we buy games. For a long time, the way video games were priced was simple. A new game comes out, it costs money. That price is the same for everyone. It might go on sale from time to time, but in the end, the price is the price. Sony is trying out the idea of breaking that model down. If this test works and gets bigger, the price of a game on the PlayStation Store won't always be the same. It will be a unique number, your number, an algorithm that knows your purchase history, playtime, engagement patterns, and eventually your income level, geographic wealth index, and who knows what else does the math. This isn't just looking ahead to the future. Right now, the data is pointing in this direction. Airlines already do this. Depending on when you search, what device you use, whether you're logged into a frequent flyer account, and a dozen other invisible factors, the price of a ticket for the same seat on the same flight can change by hundreds of dollars. The question is whether gaming will go the same way. And what is Sony testing right now? It looks like the answer is yes. And this ties into a bigger conversation that has been going on in the gaming community for years. Who owns digital things? You own a physical game when you buy it. You can sell it again. You can let someone else borrow it. The cost is the cost. When you buy a digital game, you're getting a license. Sony has the right to take it back. The terms can be changed by Sony, and as we're finding out now, Sony can apparently go back in time and decide how much you should have paid based on behavior data you didn't even know they were collecting. As more and more people switch to digital-only gaming, and as the PS5's digital-only models become more popular, the community is starting to argue that platforms like Sony have more power over how prices are set. Even though physical media is a pain, it keeps that power in check. Regulation is the only way to protect yourself when digital is the only option. And as we've seen, the rules haven't caught up yet. Look, I'm not going to pretend that personalized pricing is bad in every way. It is everywhere. But there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. Xbox does the right thing by labeling it, framing it positively, and letting users see what's going on with their prices. It looks like Sony is doing things the wrong way by running silent tests that most users won't know about and making a pricing system that isn't clear at all. It's fine if Sony wants to set prices based on who you are, but please tell us. Let people choose not to. Make the method public. Don't think of your customers as data points that you can silently profile and improve. None of this has gotten a response from Sony. Not a word, no response, just silence, which at this point seems like an answer in and of itself. So this is where we end up. Sony is running a huge, growing, and purposely hidden price test in more than 70 countries. It is giving different users different prices for the same game, and the evidence shows that loyal, frequent buyers may be paying more as a result. Xbox has been doing something like this since 2021, but they told you about it. Sony hasn't said anything. Is it legal in a technical sense? Most likely yes. Is it right? You get to make that choice. But one thing is for sure, the time of the clear, simple, and fixed price for a digital game may be coming to an end. We only know about this because data trackers found the problem and gamers started talking about it. I want to end this video with something useful because I think you should be able to protect yourself from this. First, look at prices in a private window or when you're not logged in before you buy. Take a screenshot of any price you like while you're browsing as a guest. It could go up as soon as you log in. Second, if you have access to a second PlayStation account, check the prices on both accounts. What you find might surprise you. Third, use third-party price trackers like PS Prices or PSDLE to keep an eye on when a game you want goes on sale for the lowest price, even if the price you're being shown is different. Fourth, put games on your wish list and wait. If the algorithm thinks you're losing interest, it may give you a better deal. And fifth, which is the most important thing to do, is to talk about it. Please share this video. The only thing that could make Sony change its mind about something like this is public pressure. The more people know, the harder it is to keep the experiment a secret. I really want to hear from you now, and I mean it, not just as a way to get more content. Right now, go to the PlayStation Store, sign out, find out how much a game you've been thinking about buying costs. After that, sign back in. Is it not the same? Please leave the name of the game and the 2 prices in the comments. Let's make a picture of how widespread this really is by getting people to send in their own pictures. Since Sony won't tell us, we're going to have to figure it out on our own. I'll read every comment. If the data is as crazy as I think it will be, we will have the proof to take this story to the next level. This stuff is important, and it's important that you're paying attention to it. If you want to know what happens next in this story, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the comments section.